Action! This child is special.
Enora Devon must survive.
Kill them!
Cut. Nora, I have to kiss you.
She must fulfill her destiny and bring about the downfall of Queen Featurette.
From two of our most popular and respected filmmakers, George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, and Ron Howard, the director of Cocoon, comes Willow, the story of a little man's love for an abandoned baby, a special baby whose safety is intimately bound with the world's fate.
Find the child. Find the child!
Willow is about commitment. It's about compassion. It's about taking responsibility for what goes on in the world. And it's about a everyman who comes up against extraordinary circumstances.
You're easily shocked. Please turn away.
Willow is our lead character. And if you had a room full of people and you said, someone has got to save the world, let's start pulling people out until we're left with the one that we think will probably save the world. Willow would be the first one they would grab and throw out the door.
You need a warrior for a job like this. I'm a nobody. I'm short, even for an Elwyn. We started off with the scenes at the beginning of the film where not much action takes place. I thought, I can handle this. Then, about 3 weeks into the shoot, we got into the action stuff. We are getting off! I handled it. I took it a day at a time and got through it.
To realize the world of Willow, director Howard and executive producer and story writer Lucas created villages in the English countryside filled with dance and magic.
He makes the pig disappear. It's gone.
They made the 20th century disappear with magic of another kind and staged superhuman confrontations in the winter nights of Wales.
Wet, this is cold, this is night.
This is Wales.
This is the movies. Especially it's wet.
To find the properly exotic look, they journeyed to the mountains of New Zealand. All these locations became settings for Willow's odyssey from the familiar into the unknown. Fortunately for the small man of conscience, he didn't have to face his perils alone.
Mad Mardigan begins as a warrior on Warrior Skid Row. And then he's swordless and horseless and armyless and castleless. And he hasn't had a haircut in years.
Suppose you're a warrior.
I am the greatest swordsman that ever lived.
I found a boat. We're all set.
Good. Take these two lizards out and drown them.
With the addition of a pair of tiny brownies, Willow completes his not-too-fearsome team.
Your mother was a lizard.
It's a kind of an eclectic, oddball group who also you probably wouldn't expect to turn out to be heroic figures, but, you know, they come through in the clutch.
You are great.
George and Ron have a style that's very compatible, and they're very healthy and fresh and innocent about their work.
Let's face it, when you've got a George Lucas that you can turn to on the set, well, that's an unbelievable luxury.
Ron and I have a great relationship. We worked together early on with American Graffiti and became friends, and we have similar personalities, similar sort of creative tastes, which makes it very easy for us to get along together. A film that's this big, it's like a Star Wars film. It's really beyond one person's ability to control everything.
The scale of it was enormous. Some days we'd have 4 cameras and armies and monsters and you name it, we had it. Sometimes with the big action, adventure, epic films, often they sacrifice the human element in favor of the spectacle. But I think Willow's got both, you know.
It's also got stunning effects from the best special effects house in the world, Lucasfilm's Industrial Light and Magic.
I don't make special effects movies. I make movies about people, and in order to tell the story, I have to use special effects in order to create the environments.
The effects broaden the palette of filmmaking. And this film has a lot of effects in it. We'll be way over 400 effect shots by the time we're done on it.
Dennis Murren supervised the fairy forest sequence in Willow. Central to the sequence is the fairy queen, Cherlindrea.
She's sort of a haunting figure. She's sort of a gaseous creature that you could say occasionally appears when necessary in the forest. Because she shot separately against the black, we're photographing her greatly overexposed. So she's practically like you're looking into the sun. And then we're shooting her in slow motion, so she moves very fluid and magically. And then her costume is very lightweight silks that are being blown by fans, hidden all around her. The lights are being dimmed up and down in order to make her a little more difficult to see.
When the crew moved the camera on a crane, Cherlindrea, isolated against the black background, appeared to move. ILM could now superimpose her over any background they wished.
How do you know my name?
Elora Denethor. Elora Denethor has chosen you to be her guardian.
Me?
Yes. She likes you.
ILM filmed other actresses in the same manner as Cherlindrea, turning them into exquisite little fairies.
We don't want you to think of them as neat special effects. We want, hopefully, the audience to feel transported into a time when incredible things happened and were taken absolutely for granted by everyone around them.
To fill the roles of the 9-inch tall brownies, Lucas and Howard decided to stay away from special effects entirely.
Well, you know, it's one of those incredible things. You never think that there are 9-inch people until you start asking around.
Though their decision to use very tiny actors seems inspired, Lucas, Howard, and the rest of the production team soon discovered that their diminutive stars packed enormous egos.
Now, I want to complain about our accommodations, if I can right now. Will you look at this? Will you look at this? Thanks for chipping in for the Barbie Dream House, George. We're really thrilled with that.
I don't like to, you know, kind of air dirty laundry in public, but, I mean, the one guy was living in a maple syrup can. So, I mean, we thought that the Barbie doll house would work well for them.
They always accused me of talking down to them, and I never did. But, you know, how was I supposed to dig a hole and then talk up to them? It was impossible.
Puppets. George and Ron are puppets. No, they're puppets. We literally do this every day, and they give out instructions. Ron, especially. Ron.
We had no idea it would be that easy.
Oh, God.
They're not very difficult if you threaten them a lot. If you threaten to step on them and squash them, they toe the line real well.
In spite of the strain put on the production by the tiny, ill-tempered actors, Lucas and Howard prevailed.
And what's it actually like to work on a huge budget American film like that? In fact, I mean, what sort of different attitudes do you find you're bringing to it? Do you find it changes your attitude?
No, not really, because at the end of the day, I mean, you might have 5 cameras turning over, you know, 5 units instead of 1, but it's still the same thing. I mean, you still, whether you've got to ride over the mountain again or say that line again, I mean, it's the same thing. But I mean, it was different, and it was great to be involved in something with such a complete world. I mean, they built whole worlds. I mean, it was a complete different time, and I thought the art direction, the art work on it was fantastic. It was great fun.
Virgo cut. Let me out of here. I'll take care of the baby, I swear. Just let me out of here, please. Bunkar, let me borrow that spear just for a minute. Well, at least give me some water. Virgo cut, don't leave me alone with these two. Ugh.